Welcome back to MMA Unhinged, and joining us today is Amanda Gaines. Amanda will be preparing to make her amateur debut at Montreal Fight League on August 31st. So, Amanda, it's a pleasure having you on, and thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, thank you so much for offering it to me. I really appreciate it myself.
Hey, no problem. And it's always nice talking with a fellow Canadian for once,
Oh, I know you probably get a lot, a lot of American fighters. I'm sure.
and UK fighters for sure. So you're on the cusp of making your amateur debut. Talk a little bit about what's been the mental or the physical process kind of heading forward here.
Yeah. So honestly, like I really like. I'm kind of weird. A lot of people like don't really enjoy the training, like getting ready for like a competition or a fight. But honestly, like if I didn't have competitions, I honestly just enjoy like the process, the journey of like training and waking, having a really scheduled routine. I really enjoy a
Hmm.
routine. So like I enjoy waking up. I have go to the gym, I go to work, and then I go back to the gym. Like that's pretty much my my Monday to Saturday. And I enjoy it. So like I enjoy the routine. I enjoy preparing for something, but I also just enjoy like getting up every day and going to doing a sport that I love.
Well, and I understand that you used to play hockey, like a fellow Canadian here, like many Canadians do when they
Yeah,
grow up. Is competition always been something that you've always been involved with?
yeah. Like honestly, my whole life, I've always been an athlete. I've always like done multiple sports. Like all through high school, I was that student that played like three sports in high school. So like being an athlete is like, yeah, it's something it's always been a part of my life. So I've always wanted, I never really wanted to do that like whole 9 to 5 job or career kind of thing. I always just wanted to be an athlete in a sport that I really enjoyed. And hockey was one sport that I like started at a young age and like grew up playing throughout my like teens and early on into my adulthood as well too. So
And for people that may or may not know, but I mean, I know you're very you show a lot on your social media. Job as a security.
yeah.
What are the challenges being balancing, especially preparing for your debut? Challenging the challenges balancing the job, your social life, and training.
Honestly, it is really hard when I really when I tell people my schedule, they're just like, "Oh my god, you're crazy! How do you do that?" Well, I do it because like I do MMA is a sport that I want to do long term, but I am also a person that has to pay bills, right? So you have to have that healthy medium, right? So yeah, like I have like I kind of like do security and like where I can like work and have a workplace balance and also have a good training schedule around it so I can still like do my training in the morning, I go to work and then I have enough time where I can like go to my classes in the evening. So I'm basically like, yeah, so my social life is probably slacking a little bit, but my friends understand that this is what I want to do, and majority of my friends are like are my teammates anyway, so
Hmm.
they
Well,
they understand that.
no, for sure, and for the life of an MMA fighter can be very difficult, and can have its challenges. So, do you feel like doing having it making it hard now? Do you feel like you're setting yourself a lot of good habits going forward, and as you in the future make your pro debut?
Yeah, exactly that. Because like even though like I have a really structured routine, which creates a lot of discipline, and
Hmm.
having discipline is probably, in my opinion, the number one factor to be an MMA fighter. Because if you don't have discipline, if your schedule's all over the place, then your training's going to be all over the place. So like I like to set myself up for success, and I have where I have a good training schedule and a good work schedule where I can like I know exactly what I'm doing like each part of the day. So I think that my discipline early on in my amateur like MMA career is going to set me up for success later down the road when I turn professional.
100%. And let's talk right to about right. Let's go right to the beginning here.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you're a security guard. Was it the nature of the job that kind of pushed you towards the combat sports, or was it just the competition in you? What kind of prompted you to get into MMA in the first place?
So just long story short, I was in a relationship with someone and she was a professional MMA fighter and I was still playing hockey and I was still doing CrossFit at the time, and I was honestly like kind of like getting out of that like I don't know like love for those two sports, and I wanted to try something different. And she is still a professional MMA fighter, so way back in 2019, I kind of like hinted that I'm like, hey, like I'm really interested in doing like a martial art. Like, is there one that you kind of suggested I would be like interested in? So, the first martial art I actually started with was actually Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So yeah, I went to my first class like everyone else. I fell in love with it and then just kept coming back. So, and then it was good because then in our relationship we were able to like be train partners, go to the gym together, and I was able to like learn the whole like martial arts culture. so
Yeah.
so yeah, anyway, it all started from like someone I was in a long-term relationship with, and I just fell in love with it, and I still am. So now I'm kind of like at the point where jujitsu is still my first love, and like the first martial art I started, but like I just had that like love where I want to do all the martial arts together and just kind of like, and I thought obviously MMA is like where you start with that, right? So
For sure.
so I
And
was
what
just
was and what was the reception from your family when they found out that this was something that you would like to pursue as a career?
well, they're basically just like because I played hockey, right? And you know how head trauma and concussions are a big deal.
Mhm.
There, that was probably their number one factor. Is like they don't want to see me get hurt, but hey, it's something that I'm an adult. I want to just give it a try and put myself in there, and I'm confident enough that I have the skills to do really well and become a champion one day. So yeah,
Was
I
there
go
Sorry,
ahead.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, no,
You
no,
go
no,
ahead.
no. It's all good. I was just saying like yeah. So I was just there. I'm just gonna be. You can go ahead. I'm all good.
Okay.
Sorry.
What was there any fighter or fighters that kinda inspired you at all?
Yeah. So like honestly, when first started watching like UFC, like really in depthly, I was like really like I really like Valentina's Shevchenko's style, and I because I started off with jujitsu, so like there weren't too many female jujitsu females that I kind of like gravitate towards in the UFC. But since I'm still on learning the whole like striking side of things and Muay Thai side of things, I really like fell in love with like Valentina and her story and her journey, and I like kind of like mimic her style of MMA and Muay Thai when I'm like training for myself. So yeah, my answer is Valentina. She's the one that I kind of always like looked up to.
Yeah, and I think a lot of women do. Now, you kinda talked about getting the BJJ. I think you said 2019, correct?
Yes, yes. So I've been doing it,
I
yes, since
So,
2019.
so at what point did you start training and maybe train for something that maybe you looked at? I'm going to be an amateur. I'm going to start as amateur. Like, how long did you start training seriously until you were thinking about making your debut?
Honestly, like, it was actually just a, maybe shy off like a year ago where I actually really started taking my striking really seriously, and I started to like
Hmm.
go to all the striking classes, all the MMA classes at my gym. And then I actually recently, about back in December, I started going to another gym, which is strictly like Muay Thai. So now I do
Hmm.
like, now I go to two different Muay Thai kickboxing gyms. So about a year, almost year and a half, I've really been starting to take it seriously because like I'm very confident in my jujitsu, but I also need to be more confident in my striking. So now I'm just starting to take it seriously, and it's paying off.
Yeah, and so you're going to be making your debut at 125. Is this kind of a weight class that you're going to feel comfortable at, or is this something that you're going to try and see how you feel? Can you make 115 or go to 135? Like, where are
Yeah,
you
so like I kind
setting?
of gravitate between 135 and 125. I compete at jiu-jitsu at 135 because that's normally my walk around weight, and when you go to jiu-jitsu tournaments, you have a day of weigh-in. So like you're
Hmm.
not you I don't feel depleted, but like since this is like a MMA is a day before weigh-in, I was like honestly I'm going to give 125 like a shot cuz like I know I can make it, and I know I feel right now I feel really strong. I have lots of energy. I'm like few days out before the weigh-in, and I'm still feeling really good. And I'd be like, I know I'm like, uh, I can I was just saying this, but like I can like do like still 2, 3 classes like a day if I want to. I have that much energy. So, but obviously just like taking it light this week.
So I don't know if I heard you clearly, but have you had to make like trials of making 125? Has the promotion had to ask you to do that, or has that been on
Oh,
your own accord?
yeah, well, like I honestly, I did do a trial just to see if I could make 125
Hmm.
just before I did take this fight. So I was successful at that, and the promotion never asked me to do any of that. I just want to do that so I can feel confident that I can make that weight in a healthy
Hmm.
way and still feel really good going into like a fight day. So I did that a few months ago, and I was like, okay, that was a breeze. That didn't really take much effort. So, but yeah, and the weight cut has been going really well so far. So I'm happy about it.
That's good.
Yeah.
And besides, your opponent and the game plan, have you and your coach kind of discussed anything about yourself leading to your amateur debut?
Yeah, like we've had multiple training sessions where we kind of like figured out a whole game plan going into the fight, and like yeah, I'm very confident in my jujitsu, and I know my opponent is more of a striker, so like the game plan is just going in with some combos that lead into a wrestling and jujitsu where I strive off of.
And talking about your opponent, Andrea Popa, probably gonna get it wrong.
Yeah.
She's pretty much in the same boat as you. I know she's had a few kickboxing matches. What do you feel besides your game plan that you can kind of bring in to give her a tough fight?
Well, what I can bring in is a lot of cardio. I'm going and my jiu-jitsu, my wrestling, and just kind of like beat her with my cardio and beat her to a takedown and get her to the ground as fast as I can. And like I know I can feel confident once I get to the ground that I can like use my jiu-jitsu to overtake the fight.
And I know that she's Romanian native, but I know she's basically from living in Quebec for a long time. What would it mean for you, not to just win your debut, but also to beat her in her own hometown?
It would be it would feel really cool, and like it would be just that like storybook ending where I want to finish off my first amateur MMA fight, because like I'm going in probably as the underdog because I don't have this is my debut. I No one knows who I am yet, so like I'm going in there as an underdog, and she's had multiple like K1 boxing and like MMA fights under the Montreal Fight League, so like she's known to the promotion and I'm not. So I know, and no one knows who I am either because I'm driving 6 hours away. Where who the hell is Amanda Gans, right? So I think I'm just gonna surprise everyone and take it from there. So and I thrive off being an underdog. So I kind of like that underdog story.
And anything you've done to prepare with dealing with the nerves, or do you have any?
Well, honestly, like everyone at my gym is like, "Are you ready? Do you feel ready?" I My answer to them is like, I just feel like I trust my coaches. I trust my training camp. I trust myself. I just feel going into this fight like I don't have any nerves because I've like channeled my like competition nerves in my jujitsu. Because I've competed in very big competitions in jujitsu, so like I've learned how to handle them in a very professional way, and plus like I just feel very positive about the outcome, and I don't see myself losing this fight. So I've kind of manifest this for the past like few weeks now, and I don't see myself losing, and I'm ready to go.
And I know you're ready to go, and I know you're focused on this fight. But what is your goal for the next few years? How long would you like to go amateur? Do you have an idea of how many fights do you feel you need, or is it when you're ready for the pro?
Honestly, like I'm gonna leave that to my coaches to let me know when I'm ready, but I want to try to get at least get like a title opportunity at an amateur level and try to see how I do against the best amateur females, like either in Ontario or the US. And like I don't know, there's no rush in my journey. Like I'll be amateur as long as my coaches feel I need to be, because I'm still new
Hmm.
to MMA and still new to like this the whole striking sport itself. So I like to say like I four to five amateur MMA fights, and then hopefully get a title in my amateur career as well too before I turn professional. But those are just goals in my head. So I would say maybe 5 or 6 fights until I turn professional and feel confident enough to be ready for that level.
And speaking of plans, win or lose, I know you're focused on this fight, but do you feel maybe another fight at the end of the year might be a possibility? Just like where's your head at the moment?
Yeah, so yeah, well obviously I'm my number one focus is on this fight, but like I do would like love to get like pending like what happens after this fight on Saturday. I want to get maybe 1 or 2 more fights under my belt before the end of the year, and go into the new year with on a positive note.
And obviously, no secret, you appear to be very disciplined. But do you have like a cheat meal planned for after the fight, or what is your go to?
Oh man, honestly, I've it's been a it's been a it's been a fun 2 weeks like looking at different cheat meals, but like I definitely am going to probably have I'm definitely having a steak. That's one of my favorite meals, and then for my dessert, definitely going to find an ice cream shop somewhere in Montreal.
That's excellent. I know, and everybody looks forward to it after the fight.
Oh, I know,
But
right? Yeah, so steak and ice cream, that's where we're going for after my fight.
make sure you get it back in Ontario. Don't get it in Quebec.
Okay, all right, deal.
But it's a pleasure having you on, Amanda. The floor is yours if you have anything you'd like to add in.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to all my teammates for helping me get ready for this upcoming fight at Precision MMA and Fades Muay Thai in Guelph. Thanks to my manager Adam Martin, and also my sponsors, Irie Myrie, my security company I work for in the summertime, Tresguard Security, uh, the the meat butcher that I go to, Four Quarter Butcher in Waterloo, and my two best friends that are photographers, Photos, and yeah. So thank you guys so much for helping me get here, and I'm excited to put on a show for everyone. Thank you.
Well, Amanda, thank you again for taking the time. It's a pleasure having you on here for the first time. A pleasure chatting with you, and just good luck on August 31st.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to letting you know how I do.